Good morning to you. In time for us to talk sports inside of the locker room, and joining us today, as always, is Tega the fighter, Tega Supreme.
I'm about to fight you.
You can't.
Do not be calling me fighter if you don't want a fight. Good morning, Lagos.
Good morning to you.
Tega the pretty one is saying hi.
Yes.
I don't know who this guy is.
She's available on socials, all the socials, as Tega Supreme. Lagos, join the conversation by sending us messages through WhatsApp. The WhatsApp number, like you always know, is 0809-444-0981. On Twitter at Smooth981FM, please use the hashtag with your messages, LockerRoom981.
All right, let's start off with the first story. And the Super Eagles teammates are coming to support each other. They're in solidarity. They're saying Super Eagles players, John Ogu and Moses Simon, have questioned the omission of teammates Wilfred Ndidi from the 2018 CAF 11 list. Quote here says, "Sorry to say this, but Wilfred Ndidi should be here." My own opinion, Ogu tweeted after the lineup was revealed. Guys in that position didn't do more than him. Benashe, Orea are not even regulars in their clubs, but what do I know? Ndidi, Trustekong, we're both proud of you. Forward ever. And well, he further says, however, someone comes up here and says clubs that play matters. Club they play matters. Like, are they kidding me? Ekong Ndidi had a better season for their clubs, made it to the World Cup, had a decent performance at the World Cup, and you say clubs they play in, Oria, Bai, Keita, all didn't make it. Tega, what do you think about this?
Look, he's not making any arguments that's strange to people. I mean, when the list came out, like I said, I looked at a lot of names and I did not understand why those names were there. But at the end of the day, himself and his teammates, they have the opportunity to right this wrong. Go to the AFCON 2018 in Egypt and win it, and silence the critics. For me, I want you to win for me, but just go to AFCON and win it. It's an award. These people that voted, these people that said this name should be on this list, and I understand the point he's making about a lot of the players. I also made some points about those players, but as right as he is, CAF is not going to look at his tweets and change the list.
Right.
Just make sure you make your 2019 unquestionably better.
But do you think that in the near future, though, regardless of where a team plays or where a player plays, we might see it shift in position?
Look, I don't
because
think
the same thing happened with Aubameyang for the CAF awards.
I don't think Aubameyang did not deserve anything in the CAF awards. What did he deserve to win? I mean, you mean Aubameyang had a better...
about Aubameyang when he was 2 seasons ago when he had a better season. When he was playing at Borussia Dortmund, he was supposed to, well, I think...
and he came up against Mahrez, and Mahrez won. Mahrez that won the EPL with Leicester City. Leicester City are not even underdogs. Leicester City are no dogs. And they won the EPL.
Yes, but he was the highest scorer that season.
And Mahrez was the key player. And then you're telling me that Aubameyang deserved to win ahead of Mahrez. In what planet? In what reality? So there's no such thing. I don't think so. I think if Mahrez could have won the CAF Footballer of the Year from Leicester City, I don't think it's necessarily clubs. I think, you just make yourself unquestionably good, and sometimes even then you'll still be skipped. Sometimes FIFA Ballon d'Or, they still choose players that people question. So it's an award. You always contest. Yeah.
Right. Now, Britain's Andy Murray says he plans to retire after this year's Wimbledon, but fears that next week's Australian Open could be the final tournament of his career. He said when he was asked questions regarding this, he says, "I'm not sure I'm able to play through the pain for another 4 or 5 months here." And then he continues to say, "I want to go to Wimbledon and stop, but I'm not certain I can do that. I've been in a lot of pain for about 20 months now. I've pretty much done everything I could to try and get my hip feeling better, and it hasn't helped loads. I'm in a better place than I was 6 months ago, but I'm still in a lot of pain. I can still play to a level, but not at the level that I've played at."
Look, he can't even walk well. When you see him walk on court, you know that they've done something to his hip. He's almost keeled over, and the limp is evident from afar. So I mean, I saw him at the, I think he was playing against Medvedev, and he lost to Medvedev. it was horrible. He couldn't move well. Because of the hip, he couldn't even. You know, when your service motion is always key to how well your serves will be, either with placement like it is with Djokovic, or with, again, height and force as it is with Roger Federer. He can't even lift well to complete that service motion, so he looks a threat, and it doesn't look good for Andy Murray. And I'm sure they must have tried everything that they know how to do, because I'm sure when he complained the first time, they went to look at the hip again. But what it is that it's obvious that it is a painful thing for him to even walk sometimes. And then you telling him to run around the court for an hour, 15 minutes minimum. That it's asking a lot. So I think I really felt bad when I saw the video of him crying and saying he has to retire. Yes, he'd be looking at it like, I should retire on my own terms, but now I'm being forced by my body to maybe retire. And what makes it even worse, that the Australian Open, that he would have said, let me use it to start my season a little bit better and see if I'm going to be good. He gets to face Batista Agut first round. Like, they didn't even give him time to warm up. The first match, they threw him in the deep end of the ocean. So it's sad. If you ask me, one of the guys with the best work ethic on tour, also had to put extra tactics based on the fact that he was playing in the same era with the likes of Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer, and then injuries just cutting short this career. It's very good.
All right, thank you very much for that one. Let's talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. So Cristiano Ronaldo has been asked by police in the US to provide a DNA sample in an ongoing investigation of a woman's allegation that he raped her in his Las Vegas hotel penthouse in 2009, the footballer's lawyer has said. Now, a quote here says, Mr. Ronaldo has always maintained, as he does today, what occurred in Las Vegas in 2009 was consensual in nature, so it is not surprising that the DNA would be present. Nor that the police would make this very standard request as part of their investigation. Well, that's what his lawyer is saying.
Yeah, but that's look, an allegation has been made. They're going to request for everything. He didn't say that a sexual encounter didn't happen. It's the nature of the sexual encounter that he's saying happened. So, them asking for DNA or the presence of DNA doesn't necessarily prove anything. So I'm just, what it is that this case has dragged on so long. I'm beginning to wonder, you're a lawyer, what's the brutalicities? How would the DNA hold up?
Well, by the way, brutalicities just slipped into the studio.
I don't know, after this.
So look, that's what I found a little bit confusing. When you're asking for DNA evidence, it's usually when the person's probably denied that an encounter has taken place, or that he or she was at that place at that time. But in this case, the case is that there was a consensual encounter. So it's highly it would be hard for you to, what you're looking for in typically in a situation where somebody's alleged rape is that there was no consent, and that there was some sort of forceful
so DNA.
This thing. Now, with the case of forceful entry, the timeline is such that it would be difficult for a medical expert to have determined that there was force or entry against the will of the victim in this case. So that sort of knocks that out of the park. But this whole DNA thing, I think, in my opinion, it's a little bit more for show and effect. However, what I will say is that, look, this is probably not the first time this guy Ronaldo has been accused of this thing. And I would only say that it seems a little bit odd that it always seems to swirl around him all this time. No, not just footballer, but him. This is not the first time, it's not the second one. And I hope for his sake that nobody somewhere along the line comes out, because if this keeps coming, it's going to be something that
I was just going to say that can't he just settle out of court, because he is Ronaldo. This is bad press for him.
The optics of settling out of court is not good for him. It usually then suggests there's a hint of truth in the allegation. So if he's going to continue to deny this and say it's consensual, he then has to go the whole hog on it, and he had better have his story right.
All right. Unfortunately, Let's talk about now Barcelona for a second, but very quickly we'll need to take some break, well a break rather, I said some break. Okay, because when we come right back, we'll continue with some of the messages on Instagram, also rather on Twitter. Send it with the hashtag LockerRoom981. Or if you're sending through WhatsApp, our WhatsApp number is 0809 440 981.
See, sorry, your phone keeps ringing.
No, it's WhatsApp.
Oh, it's WhatsApp.
Sorry.
Oh, this is the WhatsApp phone. As I was like, business, they are calling you. Thanks, bro. That's why we need you sent it to school. You understand?
Oh,
I like
that's
the
why
way
they send me.
Hated it too.
Just pronounce it like this. Just why? Because it's tobacco. Because it's but this
Sorry. I
boha,
always
this
like to have it.
boha, mayoral. Just pronounce it as it's spelled. It's safer that way. Don't
Don't worry, if you can't find it. Don't worry, leave it if you can't find it. I always like to see you off.
Are you kidding me? I like it on.
Just don't look.
You can be so there. Oh, yeah. That's what I did it for.
Okay, so I can go now.
There you go.
We're ready.
Shopping complex, a job and more. School kits. Let's kit your kids for school.
Love music.
Lagos, you're listening to Sports Stories and the analysis inside the locker room here on Smooth Breakfast with Kayode Baker.
And Valentine Ohu.
And of course, this morning we're taking your messages on WhatsApp 0809 444 0981. We're joined by Tega Supreme, and Uncle Bubru, Brutalistics. Never get over that. But anyway, messages. Chimobi Victor sent in this one from Alaba International. He said, I feel bad to hear my man Andy Murray retire from tennis. Surely Tega and I will miss him. We'll really miss him. Who am I to change his decision, but to wish him a quick recovery?
Again, you?
Yeah. Anyway, so let's go to Barcelona. Holders Barcelona fell to a shock 2-1 defeat to Levante in the first leg of their Copa del Rey last 16 tie. Eric Cabaco and Borja Mayoral scored in the opening 20 minutes to give the host a comfortable lead at halftime. Brazilian midfielder Felipe Coutinho pulled a goal back from Barcelona for Barcelona with a late penalty, and the second leg will take place at the Nou Camp on Thursday.
Yes. This was a game again that sometimes when you see this game, you question how really good is Valverde. I mean, if you just take out Messi, Valverde seems to fall apart at the seams. And this is another of those games. But sometimes I don't only like to blame the coach. Sometimes I like to I put the blame on the players because they are the ones on the pitch. When you get the opportunity with ties like this to come on the pitch, you've not had enough playing time, you're shouting for playing time, then somebody hands you a full 90 minutes and say display the talent that you've been saying that you have, and then you display. I mean, they were bad, they were so bad. They were already Barcelona was losing 2-0 by the 18th minute. The match just started when the first goal came in. So you get the opportunity now, they put you on the pitch and you cannot produce the result. That's where then there is a problem, because this is the opportunity to say, hey coach, see what I did here. You see what, like, it's like what Vinicius Junior did for Real Madrid against Leganes on Wednesday. Came on the pitch, he said, I'm telling you people, I can score. Trust me, I can score. They put him in the game, he scored. You get the opportunity as a Malcolm to get on the pitch. Of course, regardless of the performance yesterday, I still think it's not a bright idea, or it's not smart by any way to sell a 21-year-old Brazilian to buy a 30-year-old Brazilian as replacement. I don't think it's a good idea. But Malcolm is given the opportunity yesterday and he didn't shine. I think for Coutinho, what is wrong with Coutinho is that he came into a Barcelona side and didn't really find his role, and he stopped enjoying his football. So every time he comes on the pitch, it's a question of how can I show them that I am Coutinho. So he's putting himself under pressure to deliver results, and he's not enjoying his game. And that's where the problem is. He's not smiling, he's not happy, he's not joyful, and so he's not delivering. And again, with yesterday, I expected him to say, okay, you know what, Messi is not here to take some of my space.
It's time to take my
Let me show them some skills. Nothing. And so you look at these players and say, then how should the coach play you in the starting lineup if you cannot use the opportunity to express yourself? But the good news is that they have one away goal, and there's an opportunity for them to right this wrong at Camp Nou. It's just a goal difference, but they have that away goal and they can do that. It will be sad for them to be knocked out here when they have held this trophy. I can't remember the last time Barcelona did not hold this trophy. Maybe when Mourinho was
I'm
here.
sort of glad that they
Yeah.
actually even lost.
You're glad that they
I'm glad
lost.
they lost. I hope that they lose the second leg too.
Well, I don't know. It's a 2-1 scoreline,
Yeah.
and all they need to move to the next
1-0.
round is just a 1-0 scoreline. So it should be easy enough to get. But to Tega's point, there's something about Barcelona that's lost a fear factor. It's lost that ethos, that urgency about them, and their excitement. It's been gone over the years, not just with Valverde. It's just been slowly eroded, and one hopes that they won't just become a pedestrian side in Spanish football in time.
All right, let's talk about the baby-faced assassin. That's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He says that Mauricio Pochettino's links to Manchester United. Well, there's a reason for that. And well, he says he can understand why Tottenham boss, that's Mauricio Pochettino, has been installed as one of the favorites to become Manchester United's next permanent manager. A quote here says he has done a very good job ahead of the United's game against Spurs at Wembley. That's Solskjaer speaking. The speculation is there for a reason, and he has done very well. He said of Kane, he's not a bad player. He's a fantastic scorer, one of the best in the world, playing up there at the moment. And then I have a couple, and I'm happy to work with them as well.
Wait, did you just say that Harry Kane is not a bad player?
That's what I
That's
said.
like shady. You know how the British press, like, they carry that guy like
Ah.
royalty, best player in the world, best striker in the
Your
world. and
baby
all that
face will
stuff.
not help you.
So he just that's a serious shade. But look, there are many reasons why Mauricio Pochettino is revered and to a very large extent sought after in world football. When he first came through at Southampton, you could see what he was trying to achieve there. And moving on to Tottenham, who perhaps, and to a very large extent, he's done a fantastic job. He's what he's managed to achieve at Tottenham is such that regardless of the personnel that plays, you still get a good outcome. The result is more than almost always the same. Good play, high tempo, and all of that stuff. And when Solskjaer remembers how easily Tottenham overran Manchester United the first time around this season, it's easy to see why he has to be cautious and respectful. That said, Manchester United has witnessed a fantastic resurgence in the 5 games that he's been in charge in. Some will say, well, if you look at the opposition he's had to play, it was relatively easy. So this is the first real test, as many would say, of Solskjaer's credentials for the permanently securing Manchester United's coaching role. It's an audition of sorts for both managers, and I think this is going to be a really exciting game. United are playing well. There's a renewed confidence in there. Tottenham have always played well under Pochettino, but they are going at a disadvantage this time around because they have some of their key players. Son Heung-min is off at the Asian Cup at the moment. He has been instrumental to Tottenham's fantastic football over the last 5-6 games. How that will play out in that team, that said, they have a Lucas Moura. They've got a good midfield at the moment. That what's his name again? This guy from Newcastle that's just come into the midfield, and he's just running that place right. And that's it. Manchester United have to cope with the urgency, the intensity of Tottenham's play, overrun that, and then take their chances against them. So this, by every stretch of the imagination, should be a truly exciting game. I will be unhappy if there is no result, and by result, I mean one side should come
It's not a
away with
Mourinho
victory.
game,
in
so
this
I
game.
don't think that's going to be. It's not going to be.
We don't
a
want to
nil-nil
draw.
fixture.
A high goal, a high scoring game which results in a win would be good for everyone.
Fantastic. Now let's talk about a club that seems to be broke at this point, or maybe they're just managing money better.
Excuse you.
Arsenal can only afford to loan players during the January transfer window and cannot make permanent signings. That's what their manager, Unai Emery, is saying. In his words, I do not know now or how Denis Suarez situation, but we can only sign on a loan. We cannot sign permanently. We can only loan players.
Hey,
What's going on?
they brought out the Arsene Wenger business structure. And they've delivered it to him. Guy, we spent so much money. In fact, we worked so hard, and the money we spent in the summer to get you players, we have not spent it in a while, and we don't think that we can spend it again. It's true he wanted to. Unai Emery wanted a few changes. I wanted a few players to come in. They're tossing and banding names around.
Yes.
Denis Suarez, Yannick Carrasco coming back from China, but. What he's saying to him is, we don't have money for all those plenty wahala, and January is an expensive window to start transferring players. So what we can only do for you, what we can help you with, is transfer. So you have to manage what you already have, and so Unai Emery is beginning to learn the language that Arsene Wenger. Maybe Arsene Wenger even invented the language, but what it is that is now the language in the place.
Quick, just to add, for Arsenal fans, for those who have been saying Arsene Wenger this, Arsene Wenger that, the true picture is slowly emerging, and I fear that we're going to witness a lot of this under this management and under this current management. When they started creating new roles and all of that stuff, they wanted a situation where transfer policy was completely out of the control of the manager. So make no mistake, Unai Emery is now just a coach. He is not a manager who had the kind of control that the likes of Alex Ferguson and all of that stuff said. And that speaks to the mindset of the majority shareholder. This guy is in here to take money out and not bring in. And that is going to reflect in the ambitions of Arsenal in the league and other competition. So when you're talking about this manager is not this manager is that, the reality is the owners, the real owners don't want to bring in money. This is a business. A business is for making profit. They want profits.
Thank you. So now Unai Emery said, he didn't say this thing with joy. He said it sulking. So you can tell that they did not.
I think they should just invest in defenders, and that's it.
he was sulking when he said this, but he's going to have to manage that. The most important thing for him though is Saturday, when he faces another London rival, West Ham. And West Ham can be tricky. 1 minute they are very good, free flowing football, showing you their strength, showing you their depth. The next minute they're just not anyhow. They just somehow. So it's going to be a tricky one for Arsenal. Arsenal is going to have to be the one to bring the momentum, the drive, and Unai Emery is going to have to find a way to romance the players he has.
Romance the show.
That's what it is. Just romance them, make them feel good, tell them they're Diego Armando Maradona, put them on the pitch and let them express themselves.
It's just beef of their ego. Chimobi Victor sent this one. It says, kudos to Levant for their victory last night, though it will be difficult for them to end the second leg, knowing fully well that Messi and Suarez will be back then. And then we have this other message here from Big T. Big T says, Arsenal, Unai has just been given the Ijebu business model. Tested and trusted at the club. Invented by Baba Ijebu himself, Arsene Wenger. And he carries it on. And of course, we have this other one. Bash from Yaba says, at last, the end of the road for an easy fixtures. It's over for them. And especially regarding Tottenham. The messages are just going back and forth, guys. Please, Bash, please send me your messages in clear, simple terms here. This one is from Big E from Kayode. It says, Kayode, now for you. Do you want Barca fans to come for you? However, who offended Man City on Wednesday? They provoked the anger of the gods upon their opponents, and the way Tottenham praises Harry Kane as if he is a Greek god is the downfall of that club. Arsenal is not broke.
Okay.
Okay. So you say.
One more message here from Ike from Navy Town. Said Tottenham Hotspur will blow Manchester United apart. This is the social litmus test, and it is likely the results will not come out red. Arsenal has started again, Then go enter the Alaba markets in French league and continue their Jabu brand. Wow. What's up with people and this stuff?
You're not polite.
You started it, Valentine.
I
You
did?
started, yes.
Really?
Yes.
About who? Arsenal? Are they broke? Lagos, we'll take a break. I'll be back and talk more sports stories. Remember, your messages go to WhatsApp 0809 444 0981.
I mean, to be fair though, if you look, there's not a lot of
Giant transfer window is
the
expensive.
teams that tend to spend a lot of money in giant transfer window, they tend to be teams that are struggling at the bottom half of the league.
Well, he's struggling at the bottom half of the top 6. That's all about
And then, of course, when you think about it as well,
I don't think
everybody
he needs to buy. I don't think it's a need.
No, it's not a need to buy.
Yeah.
Listen, and I think that's the point. It's not as if they will not invest.
Invest later.
I think what they want to do is wait till the summer, offload the likes of Yankees, El Neni, and a lot of other people who are clouding up the
adding to the
wage
salary.
bill.
Yeah.
You know, once you've cleared that, then you know, oh, okay, even if we don't have a significant transfer, we have a little
Okay, we're
more
ready.
in terms of wages to play with.
We're ready. Welcome back, Lagos. If you just joined us, this is still the locker room on Smooth 98.1, Tega and Valentine, and of course also Mr. Brutalistic still here. We're talking sports stories, and let's get on to the next one, shall we? This one here says Real Madrid have made a gloomy start to the new year, but as the floundering European champions prepare for a difficult trip to Real Betis on Sunday, hope has arrived in the unlikely figure of a teenager. That's Vinicius Jr. Your thoughts?
Well, let me put it this way. No, it's hope now. All is hope. I don't like the way you're laughing. Like the guy cannot do something. He can try, but what it is Real Madrid are in a place that nobody wants to be in. The UEFA Champions League that naturally it's say, oh, okay, maybe these people have the opportunity to do something. They haven't particularly excelled there, and they know that they're going to struggle. In fact, there are no guarantees, even in the minds of the players, that they can go back and win the UEFA Champions League again. They're already behind, 10 points behind Barcelona in the La Liga, and it's not looking so good with all the injuries they're having and the suspensions. Even Toni Kroos is not playing this weekend. No Bale, no Asensio. There's just
And there's nobody playing.
A few other people that are collecting salary will play, and they will work for that salary. So it's not looking good for Solari right now. So his only hope is to depend on the X factors that he's going to infuse into the game, and he's expecting that if I have those X factors, if those people deliver, then I can get a result. But it's a tough one against Real Betis. This is Real Betis side that they're a good team. Yes, you will not count them in the top 4 teams because you still have the Atletico Madrid and the Sevillas. Even Valencia is in falling now. But Real Betis is right up there, and they know how to get results, especially against a big team. Remember what they did to Barcelona earlier this season. So it is a difficult trip, and Real Madrid is playing away. It is going to be tough, but they're just giving themselves the hope that, well, we won Copa del Rey midweek, and we didn't bandy about too many names, so maybe we'll be able to do the same thing against Real Betis. That's the hope.
Do you think that they need the Galacticos?
We don't know what the reality will be.
We have messages in. Bash from Yaba sent in this one. So at last, the end of Red Devil diet of easy fixtures is over. Then we'll hear him. If Tottenham no flog Red Devils at Wembley, Pochettino should get a knock on the head since he's making mouth that he wants to win big trophies. He also adds, "Oh, Bash, thank you. I'm ready now. Calm down." MI from Akoka sent this one. Says Asin Chukudi Wenger spent that long at the club because he could make and save money for them. At the end of the day, slick football is important, but securing the bag is important here. Renai should download the PDF file of the initial model used by the professor. That's warning. Alright, so we have this one. Unbeaten League 1 leaders and holders Paris Saint-Germain suffered a shock French League Cup exit against the top flight's bottom side, Golden Gap. And having missed one earlier, Marcus Thuram scored an injury time penalty, adding to Yeni's earlier spot kick for 2-1 win. Now, Neymar netted for PSG, who won the trophy in the last 5 seasons.
Just so that you don't say that they were missing out a big name, Neymar played that game. But you have to understand, Neymar played that game. Gingham had a penalty and missed it, and then still won the game by 2-1. So it's not like they didn't put their best foot forward. It's just that they were well beaten on the day. Very well beaten. So that's one trophy out of the bag for PSG. So then they can use that one to try and focus on UCL. I very much doubt it, but let them use that as an excuse.
Special thanks to Tega Supreme for all her jabbing this morning, and of course to Brutalistic, some bro. Have a nice weekend, guys. We're not done yet though. But Kayode and I are still here for the final hour of the Smooth Breakfast Lagos, where we get to talk for a Feel Good Friday, and it's a topic you don't want to miss. All right, so join us then.